Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned into Esoteric Guidance Extraterrestrial Earth Angel, and my name is Nehru. We are going to go ahead and get into the next reading of the Book of Jubilees and cover the next two chapters or so, depending on how long they are. Again, I do not read these texts ahead of time because I believe it clouds intuition. Okay, and so I want to first give a shout out to our newest public subscriber, Ase Dezan, I believe. Ase Dezan. Welcome in. Thank you so much for taking a risk and clicking subscribe. Thank you so much, Collective, for all that you do and getting these messages out. Thank you for your shares, your likes, and again, your subscribes. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get into chapter 33. I will pick up in the 25th verse of chapter 32 just for a recap. All right. And Jacob said, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? Okay. So you could be having a Joseph experience or have gone through a Joseph experience where you were given away or adopted or what have you, and you are just finding out, or you will be finding out who your real parents or family biologically here on this earth is. But Jacob, okay, oftentimes when we read like the other canonical texts as well, we read where deep sleep comes over the high priest, the high priestess, the prophet, the prophetess, or the scribe, and this deep sleep allows them to esoterically travel, okay? And that's what Jacob was going through, okay? So he was going through this esoteric travel and speaking with divine, and he was shown some things, okay? And he awakens, and then he asks, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? And he said unto him, I will bring all things to thy remembrance. And he went up from him, and he awoke from his sleep, and he remembered everything which he had read and seen, and he wrote down all the words which he had read and seen, and he celebrated there yet another day, and he sacrificed thereon. Okay. So this also brings home the importance of having some type of journal to document your dreams, your visions. Okay. And sacrifice thereon, according to all that he sacrificed on the former days, and he called its name addition. For this day was added, and the former days were called the feast. And thus it was manifested that it should be, and it is written on the heavenly tablets, whereof it was revealed to him that he should celebrate it, and add it to the 7 days of the feast, and its name was called addition, because it was recorded amongst the days of the feast, or days of the feast days, according to the number of the days of the year. Let me see if I have that there so it holds up the tablet. And in the night, on the 23rd of the month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river. And he called the name of this place the river of Deborah, and the oak of the morning of Deborah. And Rebekah went and returned to her house to his father Isaac. And Jacob sent by her hand rams and sheep and he-goats, that she would prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. Okay, Isaac at this time was somewhere between 130 and 188 years old. He was somewhere in between. He passed that 188. Okay, you can be seen 88. Okay, or 818. Okay, but Isaac ascended at the age of 188. Okay, all right. When I say ascend, not like Enoch, okay, and Issa, Yeshua, Jesus, not ascend like that, but spiritually, that's when he ascended, okay, at the age of 188, okay. As a reminder, Rebecca passed at the age of 133. So we have 188, 133. And I did do some research and find out the difference between their ages, and they were approximately 37 to 38 years apart. Okay, 37 to 38 years apart, Isaac and Rebecca. Okay, so in today's society, again, they would lead you to believe that 60 is old. Okay, I am 50 today, and I can tell you, and I stretch and exercise and I eat pretty well and those sorts of things, but I can tell you, I definitely feel like I'm definitely in my 30s or something. I'm definitely younger than 50. As far as the way that I feel and that sort of thing. Okay. Also, I'm reminded of a song. It's by Stacy Lattimore. Okay. The song by Stacy Lattimore, part of it is, you might think I am much too young to understand. Don't be fooled like a child. I look into your eyes and know someday I'll make you mine. And then it goes into the chorus, let me be your angel. Okay, that song is sang by Stacy Lattimore, released in the 80s. Okay, so again, there could be something about a Gen Y, Gen X relationship. Again, there are no more tarot readings that will be done on this channel. But that may be significant for some of you watching this. Okay, so where shall we pick up? And its name is called addition, because that it was recorded amongst the days of the feast according to the number of the days of the year. And in the night on the 23rd of this month. Oh, okay, good, let me skip. Okay, he goats prepared the meat to be prepared. Oh, for Isaac, because yes, Isaac was, yes, okay. Eyesight was not very good at this point, again, between 130 and 188 at this point in time in Jacob's recordings here. And he went after his mother till he came to the land of Kebratim, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bare a son in the night, and called his name Son of my sorrow, for she suffered in giving birth, but his father called his name Benjamin. On the 11th of the 8th month, in the first of the 6th week of this Jubilee. And Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephrath. Okay. The same. I may have missed. I have to go back and check the last video. I might have put Rebecca's name in there on the video instead of Rachel. I have to check that. The same is Bethlehem. Okay. The same as Bethlehem today. And Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel, on the road above her grave. And Jacob went and dwelt to the south of the Magdala-Dreph, and he went to his father Isaac, he and Leah his wife, on the new moon of the 10th month, And Reuben saw Bilhah, Rachel's maid, the concubine of his father, bathing in water in a secret place, and he loved her. Okay? And he hid himself at night, and he returned or entered the house of Bilhah at night, and he found her sleeping alone on a bed in her house. And he lay with her, and she awoke and saw, and behold, Reuben was laying with her in the bed, and she uncovered the border of her covering and seized him and cried out and discovered that it was Reuben. And she was ashamed because of him and released her hand from him, and he fled. Verse 7. And she lamented because of this thing exceedingly, and did not tell it to anyone. And when Jacob returned and sought her, she said unto him, I am not clean for thee, for I have been defiled as regards thee. Okay, so she thought it was Jacob. For Reuben has defiled me, and has lain with me in the night, and I was asleep, and did not discover until he uncovered my skirt and slept with me. And Jacob was exceedingly wroth with Reuben, because he had lain with Bilhah, because he had uncovered his father's skirt. Okay. And Jacob did not approach her again, because Reuben had defiled her. And as for any man who uncovers his father's skirt, his deed is wicked exceedingly, for he is abominable before the Lord. Okay, so I will share this with you. Kevin, the warlock polygamist that took my first wife when I was in the military, and has slept with many of the women that I have slept with, including a German woman whose name is Connie, and he got her pregnant, and she now has a daughter whose name is Zoe, who's a teenager, okay? And a 15-year-old, okay? That's part of the reason why he was sentenced to 40 to 60 years in 2014, was for sleeping with and impregnating that 15-year-old at that time, who is now an adult. And there was opportunity for me, okay, to be with one or more of them, okay, but I dare not, okay. Some of these experiences happened when I was a child, teenager, adolescent, okay, because he was a pedophile. I said pedophile. He is a polygamist, okay, for 35 years or something, starting in 1979 or 80 or something like that, if not before that, as a teenager. And but I never did, okay? And so it's interesting that they speak about someone sleeping with their father's skirt, or their father's wife. In this case, that's what that refers to, or father's bride, or what have you. Okay, very interesting. Okay, verse 10. For this reason it is written and ordained on the heavenly tablets, that a man should not lie with his father's wife, and should not uncover his father's skirt, for this is unclean. They shall surely die together. One of those times was during the trial that happened in Detroit, okay, his trial in Detroit, and at a hotel, and one of the women was a witness also for the prosecution, like I was. And yeah, okay. And in fact, later on, and she lives in Texas, and I was still in Florida at the time. Later on, we had a conversation, And she told me that she was also tempted. That at that time, during that, I don't know, we were up there for, I don't know, a week. Okay? But nothing happened. Okay? That individual's name is Denise. Okay? And for all I know, that could have been a ploy of his as well. She could have not been actually going to testify against him. That was just a ploy to see if I would fall for the unclean act. Okay? They shall surely die together, the man who lies with his father's wife, and the woman also, for they have wrought uncleanness on the earth, and there shall be nothing unclean before our God in the nation which he has chosen for himself as a possession. Also, I'm reminded of a dream. Okay? I had a dream some time ago about that warlock's sister. He has one older sister whose name is Sharma. Okay, and Sharma in the dream, I've not seen Sharma since probably 1997, 98. Okay. And interestingly, she lives in the same city as the karmic Scorpio that poisoned me when I moved in with her in Deltona, Florida. They live in the same city. I had a dream some time ago that she told me that the individual that I just mentioned, whose name is Denise, in the dream, she told me that her sister Delois was going to be my wife. Okay? That is a karmic thing. Okay? So, you use your discernment. Okay? I like to say discernment is the least utilized gift in the spiritual toolbox. Discernment. Okay? And I immediately woke up, cleansed the energy, and told that individual that they are a liar, because that was a demon coming to me trying to give me whatever STDs or whatever it is that's floating around that coven of women and men. Okay, because they sleep with each other. Kevin made them sleep with each other. Okay? And the woman also, for they have wrought uncleanness on the earth, and there shall be nothing unclean before our God in the nation which he has chosen for himself as a possession. And again it is written a second time, Cursed be he who lieth with the wife of his father, for he hath uncovered his father's shame. And all the holy ones of the Lord said, So be it, so be it. Which is to say, Amen, as it is written. Okay. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel that they observe this word, for it entails a punishment of death, and it is unclean, and there is no atonement forever to atone for the man who has committed this. He is to put to death and slain, be put to death and slain, and stoned with stones, and rooted out from the midst of the people of our God. Okay? And so, again, when I speak about, at least in the United States of America, when I speak about the justice system and them keeping demons alive, okay, my stance on that, okay, it's not a political stance, it's a spiritual stance. My stance on that is, just like Jacob is saying here, you kill the individual who allowed the demon to take over them. Okay? One of the 10 commandments that we did on the Sabbath service on Saturday is, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or spouse. It's wife, it's spouse. It's not just a wife. Okay? Because women covet after men's husbands or women's husbands. Okay? And homosexual. Okay? Men want a man who's married. You know what I mean? So I am definitely of this belief today in this being spiritual justice. How many pedophiles rapists, murderers are on death row, breathing and living today, who you are paying for their meals with your tax dollars. You are paying for them to live and breathe the same air you breathe. They are to be rooted out from the midst of the people of our God. Rooted out to start over again in a rebirth. Okay? They are not to be kept alive. Again, you might think that's harsh. Wait until you're the one that's raped, or your child is murdered, or your child is molested. You wait and see. And then we'll determine whether or not you still take that stance. For to no man who does so in Israel is it permitted to remain alive a single day on the earth, for he is abominable and unclean. And let them not say to Reuben, to Reuben was granted life and forgiveness after he had lain with his father's concubine. And to her also, though she had a husband, and her husband Jacob, his father, was still alive. For until that time there had not been revealed the ordinance or judgment and law in its completeness for all. So until then, there was no statute governing what happens when someone lays with someone else's husband or wife. Up until this point, there was no ordinance, there was no statute. Okay? But in thy days it has been revealed as a law of seasons and of days, and an everlasting law for the everlasting generations. And for this law there is no, guess it's going to say change or recompense or something. Consummation. Okay? So there is no forgiveness. Okay? There is no reconciling. Consummation of days, and no atonement for it, but they must both be rooted out in the midst of the nation. On the day wherein they committed it, they shall slay them. And do thou, Moses, write it down for Israel, that they may observe it and do according to these words, and not commit a sin unto death. For the Lord our God is judge, who respects not persons and accepts not gifts. And tell them these words of the covenant, that they may hear and observe and be on their guard with respect to them, and not be destroyed and rooted out of the land. For an uncleanness and an abominable and a contamination and a pollution are all they who commit it on the earth before our God. Okay, verse 20. And there is no greater sin than the fornication which they commit on earth. For Israel is a holy nation unto the Lord its God, a nation of inheritance and a priestly and royal nation. For, I'm reminded of a song, and for his own possession, and there shall no such uncleanness appear in the midst of the holy nation. The Mississippi Mass Choir sang a song, and you can find it on YouTube, and it's called A Chosen People. Okay, if you are encouraged to listen to that song, I encourage you to listen to that song. Mississippi Mass Choir, God has a chosen people. I'm going to listen to that song when we are done here, actually. And there shall no such uncleanness appear in the midst of the holy nation. And in the 3rd year of the 6th week, Jacob and all his sons went and dwelt in the house of Abraham, near Isaac his father. Okay, Abraham is Jacob's grandfather, and Abraham and Rebekah his father, Isaac. Okay, and Rebekah his mother. And these were the names of the sons of Jacob: firstborn Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, the son of Leah, the sons of Leah, and the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, the sons of Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali, the sons of Zilpah, Gad and Asher. Christopher Asher Ray, okay, former FBI director, is significant to the truth coming out. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, and remember, we recall that Dinah is the one who was raped, okay, by the Chechemites, okay, and the only daughter of Jacob, okay, and sorry about the phone there, and or the camera, and they came and bowed themselves to Isaac and Rebekah. And when they saw them, they blessed Jacob and all his sons. And Isaac rejoiced exceedingly, for he saw the sons of Jacob, his younger son, and he blessed them. Okay, so when Jacob, we recall in the 31st chapter, when Jacob originally went home, or maybe 30th chapter, when Jacob originally went back home to Isaac and Rebekah, that both of them were ailing. Again, they were, they were up there in age. Okay. And so, and they were above 100 years old. And so, but when Jacob came into the house, okay, their energy was revived. Isaac's eyesight was returned for temporarily, and he was able to see his grandsons, the two sons that Jacob took with him. Rebekah's energy returned to her in her old age. She might have been suffering from arthritis or anything. Okay, and she was revived. Okay, so Jacob was a healer. I remind us. Okay. Chapter 34. And in the 6th year of this week, of this 44th Jubilee, 4-4, Jacob sent his sons to pasture their sheep and his servants with them to the pastures of Shechem. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled themselves together after his daughter Zilpah was raped. Jacob went, or his sons went, Levi and others went, and they destroyed the people of that land, and they took their land and their cattle because they had raped Dinah. Okay. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled themselves together against them to slay them, hiding themselves under the trees, and to take their cattle as prey. And Jacob and Levi and Judah and Joseph were in the house with Isaac their father. For his spirit was sorrowful, and they could not leave him. And Benjamin was the youngest, and for this reason remained with his father. And there came the kings of Tafu, and, or it could be Tapu, I'm not sure, Tafu, and the kings of Arsa, and the kings of Saragon, and the kings of Silo, and the kings of Gaas, and the kings of Betharon, and the kings of Manisakar, and all those who dwell in these mountains, and who dwell in the woods in the land of Canaan. And they announced this to Jacob, saying, Behold, the kings of the Amorites have surrounded thy sons and plundered their herds. And he arose from his house, he and his 3 sons, and all the servants of his fathers and his own servants, and he went against them with 6,000 men who carried swords, and he slew them in the pastures of Shechem once again, and pursued those who fled, and he slew them with the edge of the sword, and he slew them, and he slew Arsa and Tapu and Saragan and Silo and Amani-Sakar, and Gegos, and he rescued his herds, and he prevailed over them, and imposed tribute on them that they should pay him tribute 5 fruit products of their land. And he built Robel and Tamateras, and that's probably not how you say that word. And he returned in peace and made peace with them, and they became his servants. Okay? Until the day that he and his sons went down into Egypt. And in the seventh year of this week, he sent Joseph to learn about the welfare of his brothers from his house to the land of Shechem, and he found them in the land of Dothan. And they dwelt treacherously with him, and formed a plot against him to slay him. But changing their minds, they sold him, again the Joseph experience, they sold him to the Ishmaelite merchants, and they brought him down into Egypt, and they sold him to Potiphar, the eunuch of Pharaoh, the chief of the cooks, priest of the city of Elu. And the sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid, baby goat, and dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood, and sent it to Jacob their father on the 10th of the 7th month. And he mourned all that night, for they had brought it to him in the evening, and he became feverish with mourning for his death. And he said, an evil beast has devoured Joseph, okay, and all the members of his house. And all the members of his house mourned with him that day, and they were grieving and mourning with him all that day. And his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted for his son. And on the day Bilhah heard that Joseph had perished, and she died mourning him. And she was living in Kephath. And Dinah, also his daughter, died after Joseph had perished. Or they believed he had. And there came these 3 mournings upon Israel in 1 month. And they buried Bilhah over against the tomb of Rachel. And Dinah also, his daughter, they buried there. And he mourned for Joseph. So Jacob lost his only daughter after she was raped. So Dinah, that lifetime, this lifetime, as it's recorded in this canonical text, she had a really rough time. I'm going to look and see if we can find out what age Dinah was at her passing. And he mourned for Joseph 1 year, and did not cease. For he said, let me go down to the grave mourning for my son. For this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day that the news which made him weep for Joseph came to Jacob his father, that they should make atonement for themselves thereon with a young goat on the 10th of the 7th month, once a year for their sons. And that is depending on when this was, I'm not sure actually what year, okay, this was occurring. But originally there was 10 months in a year, okay? A year was 10 months. 10 is the number of completion. 12 is the number of finality. Man added 2 months in 153 BC, Okay, man added January and February, okay, to make 12 months. But I'm not sure when this was happening. So this could be either if it's after 153 BC, okay, BCE, then we are talking October 7th. Okay, so we're talking about go on the 10th of the, or excuse me, no, we're talking about July. Okay, 10th month, or the 10th of the 7th month, 7/10. Okay, so we're talking about July. All right. If it is prior to 153 BCE, okay, then March is the first month of the year, okay, and we're talking about October. No, July, September. Okay, I believe. All right, depends. Okay, if I'm doing that correctly in my head. Once a year for their sins, for they had grieved the affection of their father regarding Joseph his son. And this day has been ordained that they should grieve thereon for their sons, and for all their transgressions, and for all their errors, so that they might cleanse themselves on that day once a year. And after Joseph perished, the sons of Jacob took unto themselves wives. The name of Reuben's wife is Ada. The name of Simeon's wife is Aldaba, a Canaanite. And the name of Levi's wife is Milcah. And the daughters of Aram, of the seed of the sons of Terah. And the names of Judah's wife, Betasuel, a Canaanite, and the name of Issachar's wife, Hezekiah, and the name of Zebulun's wife is Neaman, and the name of Dan's wife is Eglah, and the name of Naphtali's wife is Rasul of Mesopotamia. Okay? You often hear about Mesopotamia and lost worlds and that sort of thing. Again, this canonical text confirms that, yes, that is real. Mesopotamia is a real place. Now, since the flood, many of these ancient cities are underwater. Okay? Underwater. Or underneath the earth that we walk on. And the name, or the topsoil that we walk on. And the name of Gad's wife, Makkah, and the name of Asa's wife is Ijana, and the name of Joseph's wife is Aseneth, the Egyptian, and the name of Benjamin's wife, is Ejasica. And Simeon repented and took a second wife from Mesopotamia as his brothers. Okay, so we will go ahead and stop it there for this reading. Again, this is chapter 32 and 33, 33 and 34, excuse me, of the book of Jubilees. Okay, this canonical text, of course, is made available to us online, and you can study it yourself. Thank you so much once again to our listeners for making this thus far the most popular or most listened to canonical text series on the channel. And thank you so much. I look forward to sharing more canonical text with you. It's from you too. Perhaps you were one of these beings in your past lifetime. Okay, and that is a truth. Okay, so thank you so much as always for listening. New subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nehru. I am an extraterrestrial, esoteric, Gaia beacon, a descendant of Yeshua, and the father of the Orisha. Thank you so much as always, and be encouraged.